Soldier of Christ reporting for duty. How's it going, everyone? Hope everyone's doing well and staying safe. Today I wanted to talk about something, and today I just wanted to sort of talk about, sort of maybe a sin that no one really talks about. And what I mean by that is, it seems nowadays mostly people, when they talk about sin, it's mostly just about something like, something just like, sort of like hatred or lust, especially that. Even greed and envy and whatnot. But something a lot of people don't talk about is apathy. And what I mean by that is sort of if you open your Bible and you go to Revelation chapter 3, verse 16, it speaks, "So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of the mouth." And sort of like when it says that, of course, lukewarm could mean like, yeah, you might love God and you might really appreciate having like a good relationship with God, but some people might think as far as lukewarm, it might also mean that while you do enjoy that aspect, you might also sort of appreciate the worldly aspects of life. So that is what some people might say is lukewarm, and that's a good, very, very good like interpretation of lukewarm. But something else that can be seen as lukewarm potentially is sort of just like apathy. Now, what I mean by that is sort of like when you're apathetic, you're lukewarm. I know I bash my one friend sometimes, but my one friend who's an atheist, he's overall very like, he's just a very apathetic person. Sometimes I like to go online, like video call him, whatnot, and I like to, play video games with him. And, first thing even if we haven't seen each other in a while, first thing he does is when he jumps on the phone call, he's sort of like, "Hey, Darius," and, I was like, "Oh, hey," and, he jumped on, so I expected him, to ask me how I'm doing and everything, even if we haven't seen each other in a while, especially. But he's just like, "All right, let's start playing." And, it's sort of like he doesn't have that interaction of like, sort of like thinking like I'm kind of a human, if that makes sense. It's more so just like kind of thinking like I'm one of his like play buddies. I'm just someone that, he plays games with, and when we're done playing games, we're just, we just go about our daily lives. And that's something else too. It's sort of like that is like a huge sin, because when we sort of have like this apathy, towards being like a Christian or towards just especially God, we're not really appreciating what we have. That apathy sort of, it is like sin. It takes us away from God, because, if we don't care about anything that we're granted, if we don't care about God, of course, that's just one of the worst sins to do, because even if if you're a Christian that's struggling with something such as lust, you can, as hard as it might be, you can sort of overcome that. And same thing with, if you're if you're a Christian that might be greedy, you can take steps to overcome that, and the same can be said for most other sins. But something like apathy, it's really like you're all in or you're all out. And that is something sort of like about lukewarm, because a lot of people that consider themselves Christian, they sort of say things like, "Yeah, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a light Christian, but, I'm a Christian, I guess." And a lot of times people just say, "Yeah, I'm a Christian, I guess." And because it's sort of like something like maybe they grew up Christian, or maybe they were sort of like in the vicinity of other Christians, so they kind of might identify with that person, even though like they might not know anything about Jesus or anything like that. So something that when you're a Christian, something you have to understand is you kind of have to, I've said this in my videos several times, I talk a lot about, like you have to be all in, because when you're lukewarm in this circumstance, it's usually just like, you don't care, you're just going to do with, whatever will benefit you. And that's another problem, because people are lukewarm about and apathetic about the things that actually do matter. People aren't necessarily caring about those things, but they care about things like how can they become wealthier, how can they become more famous, and all these things. And there's not really any desire to maybe perhaps want more money to have security, but at the same time, when you put all of your eggs into the basket of wanting to be famous, of wanting to be wealthy or rich, you're not leaving any time for God. And that sin of apathy, of just not caring about God, it's sort of like, it, it's easier for, a camel to walk through the eye of a needle than a rich man. It's not necessarily saying all rich people are going to go to hell. It's more so saying, people are apathetic about God because, even though God might at some point be on their priority list, he'll never be number one. And when, God isn't the number one thing that you focus on, everything else sort of takes over your thoughts, your minds, your beliefs, and all of that. So it's sort of something that, just sort of takes a back seat. And yeah, that's all I have today. I hope today's video made a little sense. I just wanted to, thought it was important to get this out. And if you might like more of this content and you're new here, please perhaps consider subscribing. Maybe joining my Discord down below. I have a link that I should get more working on that as well. And yeah, that's all I have. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, Soldier of Christ, out.